Hey folks, we continue our Bible study series. I hope this finds you, this video finds you doing well. I have been trying to each day, Monday through Saturday, release about a 10-minute Bible study / devotional video. I hope it's been helpful to you. And I've heard of folks watching it as sort of a devotional in the morning. I've heard of folks watching it at night as a way, so in the morning sort of gain some encouragement for the day, at night sort of, just in a sort of reflective place. I've heard of a couple who they watch it every day at lunch as they sort of go their separate ways and have their home offices, and they come together at lunch, and it sort of grounds them again. And so however you watch it, I hope it's helpful to you. I'm trying to touch on all sorts of different subjects, give us a little bit deeper understanding of the biblical text, but also some devotional encouragement and wisdom along the way as well. So this week we're going to be looking at the book of First Peter. It's this little tiny book, only a few chapters in the near the end of the New Testament. Each day we're going to read a different chapter together, and I'll just reflect on it a little bit. So today I want to just sort of give the preview of that book so that we're ready to go for the rest of this week. And I've showed this book to you before. I'm sure if you've ever studied the Bible with me, you've heard me talk about this. This is like a Cliff Notes version of the Bible. It is a wonderful book, and so if you're going to study a book like First Peter, what I would encourage you to do is to go to a book like this. You can order this on Amazon, I know it. And then you would read. This book has 3 pages about First Peter. And what it does is it gives sort of the overview and the background. So then you have a foundation for understanding the book. So it talks some about the history, who wrote it, sort of an outline. Very helpful. It's the kind of stuff that those of us who are seminary trained, we learn in seminary, but we know that not everyone is seminary trained, so you don't have this background understanding, this setting for which the book is written. So what I would encourage you to do is to pick up a book like this. Read it, then you go to the biblical text and you read the biblical text. So, for example, if you were reading this book about First Peter, what you would see is that it mentions that in First Peter, the writer, Peter, calls the readers aliens and strangers. Now, he's writing to Christians who are over in the Roman world. He's writing from the Jewish world, from Israel, and writing a letter to them. And so these are his friends. He knows some of them. These are his Christian brothers and sisters, and he calls them aliens and strangers. Now that's a weird way to address someone who is a friend, isn't it? Well, it goes on. This book goes on to explain that at this time in Rome, there were different, it was like a caste system. So there were different categories of people, and there was one category that was called resident aliens. And resident aliens were foreigners who were allowed to reside in Rome and in the Roman world. Often they were slaves that were taken in some kind of military conquest. They had no ability to become full citizens of Rome. And as a result, they were treated as second-class citizens. And this is the group of people to whom Peter is writing. So Christians who are the resident aliens in Rome, they're treated as second-class citizens. They are looked down upon. They are derided. They have very few liberties, personal liberties in Rome. They're really an oppressed group of people. They're going through a time of deep struggle, trying to understand how they remain faithful amidst these times of struggle. trying to understand how they stay connected to the larger Christian community, trying to understand how they live out their faith during these crisis times for them. Does that sound familiar to anybody? This is the reason why we're looking at the book of 1 Peter. It is a group of people who are in crisis. Well, we're in crisis. Our world is in crisis. It is a group of people who are separated from their Christian community in the way that they would want to be able to practice their Christianity. We're separated from our Christian community in the ways that we would want to practice our Christianity. They're a group of people who are oppressed, and I wouldn't say that we are oppressed people because of this pandemic, but sort of oppression is an outside force that directs your life and that keeps you from living the way that you desire. And so you might say that this virus is oppressing us in some way. 1 Peter is a book that is a letter that Peter wrote to these people so that they might be encouraged during their difficult times of faith. I hope that over these next days, as we're reading through this letter of 1 Peter together, that you would be encouraged during these difficult times in your faith. God bless you. Please join and let us journey together through the letter of 1 Peter.